Good morning students, this is beginning with C++. In earlier video, I just explained only OOPS concepts. There are several OOPS concepts are there: object, class, data abstraction, that data abstractions, inheritance, polymorphisms are there. So these are all the some OOPS concepts we already done. Now beginning with C++. So in C++ is an object oriented programming language. I already told you procedural. C++ is an procedural object oriented programming language, but C is a procedural programming language because C++ supports object and class. So that's why the name C++ is an object oriented programming language. So C++ was developed by Jani Strustrup at Bell Laboratories in USA. So why the name is called C++? Because C++ is an extension of C. Extension of C means the major addition of the class construct feature. The major addition of class construct feature. So that's why the name is suggest as C with the classes, because of the new feature is adding classes. But in 1983 the name was changed C++. Before that in the name is class with C with the class, but in 1983 the name was changed C++. So C++ is a superset of C. The plus plus means for adding new features. So what are the three new features? One is classes, another one is function overloading, then third one is operator overloading. So that's why the name C with class has changed C++. Okay, go to next. So this is one of the simple program of C++. So every C program we just write one directory, that is a preprocessor directory hash include IO, sorry, standard IO.h. But in C++ also we have to include the directory preprocessor directory hash include IO stream. The only difference is in C standard IO.h, here is streaming class, that is input output stream. The next line, using namespace std. Using namespace std. Using and namespace are the two keywords introduced in C++. Why we are why we are using here in the C++? That means the namespace using is one of the defined identifiers is defined directory. Identifiers defined in the namespace scope. We must include the using directory. So using directory, so using is a directory, the namespace for defined in scope, namespace scope. Okay, next. So every C++ program has contains a main function. The main function should always integer, that is int of main, and you can write one output statement for cout. But in C++ we just write printf. Within the printf statement, anything you write it will be printed. Similarly for cout statement, anything you have to write within double quotation, just it will be printed. Likewise you can add cout allow C++ programmer. then in C does not return the function, but in C++ always the value should be returned, that is return 0. Every end of the program you write return 0. Then finally close bracket, the main function ends. So this is one simple C++ program. Okay, next, in the above example it contains one main function is there, then one that is the main function should begins. Every C++ program must have a main function. Yes, you know doubt about every C++ program has contain a main functions. There is only one main function, that is important. We go to next. So there are two commands in C++. One is single line commands, another one is a multi-line commands. So single line commands, before using commands the double slash will be added. In the multi-line commands, slash asterisk followed by commands, write the commands, then end of the commands asterisk, then slash. This is the multi-line commands. Suppose as we have to include some multi-line commands for looping also, so it supports only multi-line commands, not for single line commands. So this is for commands in C++. Go to next. C++ output operator. C++ output operator, that is cout. In C, output operator is printf. In C++, cout insertion operator, then within double quotation you can write anything. So this is causes the string in quotation marks to be displayed on the screen. So anything in the double quotation is, it will be displayed on the screen, that is the meaning. Okay, but in cout is a predefined object. So one of the input operator, C plus input operator is the cin, so that is also a predefined object. So that represents the standard output stream in C++. So before including the preprocessor file, hash include IO stream, so this contains cout and cin. Okay, go to next. So double slash, sorry, double, that is symbol double lesser than, this is not a lesser than symbol, it is a operator. The operator name is insertion or put to operator. It inserts the contents to the variable on its right to the object on its left. That is the main purpose of insertion operator. The contents to the variable on its right to the object on its left. So that is the meaning for insertion operator. The insertion operator is also called bitwise left shift operator. Go to next. C++ C++ IO stream file. So the only IO stream file is there. Hash encode IO stream, that is input output streams. There are several input output streams, that is a library file which is available on IO stream. So this is the directory. Before that, hash include is a preprocessor directory. It adds the contents of IO stream file to the program. So the include IO stream file for adding all the contents of input output file to the program. So it will add all the beginning of the programs. So include IO stream for adding all the beginning of the programs. So next one, header files with .h. So .h is essential for identifying header files, but in newer compilers it does not add the extension files. Directly you put hash include IO stream only. Go to next. Return type of main. C++ main returns an integer type value to the operating system. So it must. So defaultly a return type for all functions in C++ is integer, that is int main. So main function should return a value, that is return 0 for all the end of C++ program. Otherwise you get warning or error message. Go to next. So this is the another example program for a average of two numbers. So first we must include preprocessor directory as include IO stream, then int main function should always integer, then float number 1, number 2, sum and average. These are all the variables for type float. After that you enter the number 1 and number 2 for read it, that is C in number 1, C in number 2 for reading two numbers. Then there are two uh, formulas, that is sum equal to number plus number 1 plus number 2 for adding two numbers, then store resulting, well, the result is stored in sum. After that the result will be divided by 2, the average must be stored in avg, the variable. Then it will be displayed on the screen for writing cout, the insertion operator sum equal to sum slash n for new line character. After that cout for displayed in the screen average, then return 0. So another operator, the name is input operator, one of the uh, IO streaming functions, that is cin accession operator. So cin is a predefined object. Then the greater than symbol is also known as accession or get from operator. The less than symbol is insertion or put from operator. Here the accession or get from operator for greater than symbol. So this is the purpose of accession operator is to extract the value from the keyboard and assigns it to the variable on its right. So this is the meaning of input operator. Go to next. Sometimes the user want to read more than one value by using accession operator, that is C in number 1 and number 2. So that means more than one accession operator we can use. The name is called cascading. The statement is called cascading statements. So more than one numbers, more than one values should be read. Next, this is the structure of C++ program. There are four parts. First one is include files, then class declaration, class function definitions, then main function programs. So these are all the four major sections we have to include all the C++ program. So now we'll see one by one. For first, write include function, that is a include file iostream.h constant io.h. So these are all the two preprocessors. After that you can declare a class. So class, then class name, you can define any class name. Now I am defining a person is a class name. Then you can add class functions. What are the class functions? Void get data, then void display. So these are all the two class function definitions. So one is void get data, another one is void display. Then main function. So main function for person dot get data, then person dot display. So whatever in the class function, that should be displayed on the object person 1. Okay, then return the function return 0. So every time at the end of the program we must include return 0. Okay, this is the simple C++ program for defining all the four components, that is the structure of C++. Next, this is end of section. Okay, thank you.